Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. If I start squinting, tell me to put my glasses on. I have a tendency to kind of start squinting. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here and happy to have you. You look great.
Good. Well, I was up really early to feed the horses and went back to bed. I've been so tired recently. A bit of a new routine and training. Well, one horse is training me. I'm training another horse, and I think just that physical activity. I'm exhausted.
But you've
So,
got time to do it.
well, one of the horses is in a big paddock with a friend and her horses, and she feeds really early. Right, like sometimes ridiculously early. They don't need to be fed at that time, but that's when she feeds, and I can't not feed mine because she's in. Oh, like she says, I can't do it at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm like, oh God, you know. And the thing is that I've got three others, and I could leave them to like 8:30 if I wanted to, or 9 o'clock. So, but at least I get a nice long day. That's the good thing. I don't mind so much, but sometimes after a while, it just kind of, and especially if I'm up late the night before, because often messages come in late. With me being here, Europe is just waking up in my morning, in my nighttime. So
Yeah.
then it can get really delayed, and so yeah, it can get
Yeah.
a bit tiring. But
I
they're
heard
all good.
you're super responsive. I heard.
Yeah.
Very
Well, I
positive things.
suppose. Yeah, I think. And that's the Jennifer actually. Her time zones are not. They're like awake up till kind of 2 p.m. So in my day. So, if they pop messages even through on my night time, and then I've got a good stretch of hours to be able to be responsive.
Yeah.
It's usually, if it's Europe, it would be a little bit more challenging. But then again, I'm not in a job where I'm kind of not able to get to my mobile. And even when I was working, I used to work remotely on my own, and so I had a lot of freedom to take calls, do Skype calls, and I've just been very lucky in that respect. I think really, yeah.
I remember seeing your live. I think it was the last day you were heading back to the office on your last day.
Oh
And I was
gosh,
like,
yeah.
wow, that's amazing.
Tell you what,
Um,
it felt fantastic. Word of a lie, I just felt like I wanted to just sing. It was the best feeling, and it wasn't just great because I'd reached that point and could do it. I really didn't like the job either, and that's the job could have been okay, but unfortunately, the company I work for, just it wasn't a great situation. It had allowed me a lot of freedom to be able to build my business. Like I say, I was working in real estate sales for a developer, and I used to sell houses that they built. But I could sit for hours, especially during the week, and never see anybody.
yeah.
And even in the interview, they just said, "Just keep yourself busy." It was kind of an open-ended kind of statement, and yeah, I know I've walked in on other sales rep and they'll be listening to the cricket, and I didn't kind of stream movies or anything like that, but when it became apparent and when I kind of reached that point where I just didn't want to do it anymore, it was I can't quite put a finger on the moment. I think maybe a few things had happened at work, but also I was working weekends. I worked on only a Sunday, but my husband works away, so he works interstate, and he would come home on a Friday night and fly out on a Sunday.
Right. So you weren't
I
getting
see him
the
all
time.
day. And he doesn't come home every week. Sometimes it can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Sometimes it can be longer. And then to only get one day in it, it was awful. It really kind of hit me hard. And also my daughter at the time was competing horses all competitions were on Sundays. It made it really difficult. I was having to say no to her all the time.
Yeah.
I just got to that point where I just thought, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. I can't have my life controlled like this. I have to take something back for me. I've been made redundant when I was in the UK when I was pregnant. That wasn't very nice. To have a job and suddenly not have a job just when you're about to give birth is really not fantastic.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah, it just, you work hard for companies and they don't reward you. I don't think that they reward you in the same way that you give to them. You give far more of yourself to companies than they give to you. And I just reached a point and I said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. But it's up to me. I've got to find a way out and build it. And when I reached that point, I'd already kind of done a little bit of network marketing, kind of product based. I'd been with Isogenics. I didn't like that. I love the products. I still use the product, but
That's the cream for your eyes and stuff, isn't it?
No, Isogenics is a nutritional cleansing system. So it's a mixture of shakes and all sorts of pills and potions and intermittent fasting included in the resume. And it's fantastic. I will not knock it. I had phenomenal results. I was fitted into a wedding dress, so I can't argue with that. I was a size 10, in my kind of late 40s, so I can't argue with it. But I didn't like how it made me feel in trying to market the actual product. I felt like every person that I came across had a target on the head. I started to feel like everybody I met or sat down or knew, or I had to somehow find an angle, work it into the conversation. And there's also pressure from your upline as well, do this, do that, and are you doing this, and are you doing that? And I thought, you know what, I'm a big girl and I don't need this. This is just swapping one form of kind of bully boss for another, really. And I just thought, no. So I started to look for a way to market online. It was really just at that point where you were starting to see a lot of people use social media. And I ended up coming across a course. It was called Elite Marketing Pro, EMP. And there's quite a few. My Lead System Pro, I think, is another similar one. They kind of teach you attraction marketing skills and how to market online. At the same time, being able to kind of market their product, which is a good quality product. And although I didn't have a great deal of success with that as a company, as an income stream, I learned an awful lot and I met some really great people. And you'll know yourself, the people that you can connect with in this industry can teach you so much. And they're incredibly generous. And that's what I love about online marketing and network marketing, is that people are very generous with their time and their experience and their support, and giving you a shout out, celebrating with you, even if they're not financially connected to you.
Even
if they're not, it's brilliant.
It's so important. If doing something, they should definitely give them a shout.
Yeah, and I really love that. And it was also a level playing field. It was no longer was everybody kind of scrambling to get to the top and kind of knocking each other out of the way. It's a kind of environment where you do well, everyone does well. There's kind of no losers. And I really liked that. So I started to kind of connect with a number of people. I really kind of knew that I had to build my connections. I was a very as far as Facebook is concerned, I had 100 friends, and I knew every single one of them. I was one of those closed, had to be knew them, and I really did. And that was one of the tactics in Isogenics that I didn't like. They kind of said, look, go onto your friends' profile and go onto your friends' lists and just invite them all, just send them all a friends list. And I thought, it's totally weird. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
I've never even spoken to them, and I know that kind of still, that does kind of go on, but the difference is that the people that are doing that are like-minded in that they are entrepreneurial, they're working online, and there's this understanding that we kind of interconnect in that way.
Yeah.
But their way was kind of literally going and kind of gathering all these complete strangers, just so you could sell them a product that they probably weren't interested in,
Yeah. I'm terrible at that.
Yeah.
I can't just message a random person and say, hi, have you seen this thing? I can't do it.
It's never been my tactic. I mean, I learned some nice ways to be able to connect with people I didn't kind of know back in the early days. And it again, it kind of works. But again, it would be like-minded people, and it would be about checking people's profile and just kind of sending them a nice message and saying, hey, I see you were kind of working the same field or were like-minded, and would you mind if I send you a friend request? And they'd never say no, and that's how I kind of, you have to start somewhere. It was difficult in the beginning to start building your kind of network, and then now there's that many friend requests. I just there's kind of hundreds. Some of them I don't really want, to be quite honest. Lots of random.
I've started to be very selective. I just have a quick look at the profile and go, no.
Yeah.
There's certain things, if I see certain things, I just delete them.
There's some very odd people out there as well, but and that's the risk you have when you have an open profile, I guess, on your Facebook and your market. You do have to be quite kind of careful. Yeah. But yeah, so that was my way in, I think, really. So even though I didn't stick with it, and that's when I met Steve Lawson, who's my sponsor in FutureNet. Hey?
He's a legend.
Yeah. He literally just hit 1,000 ad packs. Steve was the first person to get 1,000 ad packs in FutureAd Pro. Yeah. And he was doing his first withdrawal, and I was like, wow, what's that guy? Couldn't work it out. I'd never come across that kind of business model.
Yeah.
And I was really puzzled, and so I spent literally the next 2 evenings after work just watching every video I could find on YouTube, and I still kind of couldn't. And I know now it's so simple.
Yeah.
But
that's what I say to everyone all the time.
I couldn't work it out, and then suddenly when the pen dropped, I went, "Oh my god!" And then I couldn't sleep. Because I was like so excited. I was like, oh my God, yeah. And the whole business, I got to say, the whole business and the way it was set up and how it allowed people to work passively if they wanted to, that you could give people that option.
Yeah.
It really appealed to me because, and I thought, yeah, this really resonates with me as a business. And I straight away kind of, signed up with Steve, and we talked, and he kind of gave me some training, and then I just shared it really just with the kind of people that I'd met within those other businesses, kind of BNP. They were all doing their own kind of thing, and I just kind of popped something up on Facebook and that I was super excited, and a lot of those people joined because it worked so well with other companies.
Yeah. That's what drew me to it, was I didn't have to build a team. Because I was brand new, but I was just looking for a way to earn. So not having to constantly recruit new people, that was the little hook for me.
Me too.
Yeah, but once people started to well, actually, I'll tell a lie. When I first started, everyone that I knew thought I was nuts. Until I was in FutureNet maybe about a year, and I changed my car on a whim. I seen the ad on a Friday night, and I picked it up on the Monday morning, which was totally out of the normal for me. And everyone was like, how did you do that? And I was like, that's, that thing I do online. Like, I paid for my car. And they were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've been very lucky in regards to is that I haven't had many kind of negative people or haters, and but then again, I don't tend to bombard my people too much with what I do.
Yeah.
Probably less now. Kind of like I've been a bit quiet for a while, and it's been more about just kind of behind the scenes and kind of supporting my team and my Facebook group and everything. But and my family, probably the most cynical people have been my kids.
Really?
My two daughters, yeah, you know. My husband's always been very supportive. You know, really kind of supportive of what I do. But my kids, my two daughters, if I ever kind of chirp up or kind of like say anything, you just see rolling eyeballs. Oh God, here she goes again. And I was still like, you know, but now, you know, it pays for everything. You know, I mean, obviously my husband contributes, but I've reached a point now that if that wasn't there,
It wouldn't matter.
yeah, and it pays for all her horses, so she cannot argue. But yeah, as far as people online, they've always been kind of very nice. I've not really had any kind of too negative people. But it's
I've had a lot of strange messages and stuff, but I've never had anyone like give out or attack me over anything. Thankfully, so far.
I'll just get people spamming me with their opportunities.
Yeah.
Hello, stranger, join me. But
my favorite one is, have you heard of Bitcoin? I've read your profile. Have you heard of Bitcoin? I'm like, you didn't look at my profile.
no, I live under a rock. No, they're a bit. I have had a couple of instances. Like, it depends what kind of mood they catch me in.
Right.
Sometimes I just kind of, if I can't be bothered, I kind of just bin them, you know, straight away. I just kind of shut them down and go. And then other times, especially when people come in right at you cold and you're not even connected to them, you're not in any regards connected. They've just messaged you, bam, and straight in there. I kind of play with them a little bit and kind of say, you know, we're not going to dance first, or, you know, we're not going to get to know one another, you know. And I've actually turned a few people around just by doing that, spending a bit of time saying, like, you know, really not the best approach, maybe. And, you know, would you work with somebody or hand over money to somebody if they just walked straight up to you in the street? I said, I've got this great deal for you. It's fantastic. Give me $1,000 and I'm going to turn it into $5,000 in a week for you. I said, what would you do? I said, you run a mile. And so quite a few of them have gone, oh yeah, you know, all right. I think a couple have said, well, what do you do? And then it goes in the other direction, which is kind of good. But yeah, some poor judgment out there, I guess. But I think it's more of what I call a shotgun effect, is that they just shoot out a million bits of, you know, messages.
Yeah,
and just
something sticks.
Yeah, a bit like the scammers from wherever, Timbuktu, that trying to scam you out of your pension or whatever. But yeah, it's been good.
I've always found it easier just to share what you're doing, not in a salesy way. And then if someone's interested, they'll come to me, and if not, that's totally fine. And I just keep going.
Yeah, and I mean, it is true what they say about people might not always comment, but they're always watching.
Yeah.
I've had over, you know, the last week, I had a lady that I worked, not in the same team, but worked with, contact me about starting FutureNet. You know, Jennifer, for instance, you know, she actually, I can't remember, but I mean, I told, like she said, I told her back in, you know, right when I started, but she was busy doing other things. And in some regards, it's right. You know, you have to focus on what you're doing. You can't be constantly kind of dropping it just because your mate says, hey, this is really good. You should kind of do this. So she did the right thing at the time for her, because, you know, she was busy doing what she was doing, and that was her focus. But people do watch, and eventually when the time is right for them, they kind of come to you. And the great thing is that this company is proving the test of time. And
Yeah, it really has.
I started with it, nearly 2.5 years ago, whatever, and it's still going and it's growing. It's at number one. What's the number one ranking network marketing company in the world now?
Yeah,
Now, a lot of people might not.
I think I started on like the 5th of August in 2016, and it'd been launched just a couple of days when I started.
Wow, that was early then.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Future Pro had just been launched. I'd been in the Matrix before that.
I think I joined October or November 2016, just before Christmas, I believe. And I just started with Future Pro at the beginning. It's great because it doesn't take much time. You know, the business side of it really doesn't need, and that's what's great because everyone's busy. You know, most people are all in jobs, got families, busy lives, and you need something, especially when you're starting. And if you're a newbie into the industry, something that doesn't actually take an awful lot of time out of your life to do to get going.
Yeah.
It really the part that takes up the time is, I suppose, introducing people, sending information. And when you get to that point, if you are building a team, what I did is that because I was working and I would get a message and I do want to be reactive and I don't want to, kind of get to them as soon as possible, is that, it was important to have information that I could copy and paste. One, so that they got it quickly and I wasn't typing everything, over and over and over again, but also that the information was consistent and I wasn't kind of missing out bits and stuff, which you can do if you're rushing.
Yeah.
I made sure I had those kind of templates available.
Yeah.
And
that's what got me started on videos, because like time is limited, but I could be out with Ashley in the park and there's someone asking like, how do you do this? So I ended up making all these tiny little videos that whatever the question was about, I just send a video and go,
yeah.
Check it out.
And they're ideal because then there's nothing like, everybody wants videos. Actually reading something is kind of, people have not got a lot of time for reading a lot of writing. They would rather watch video these days. And I think it would have been must have been that first Christmas, myself and a girl called Sheridan, who was in my team, we actually spent our whole Christmas holiday making training videos. And my poor old Apple Mac was dying. It was a terrible groaning noise. It was awful. And I'd do videos and then it'd just overheat and lose the video and I'd have to start all over again. But we built a website and kind of called it FutureNet University and made all these videos going everything you needed to know about. And it was fantastic because it meant that even the newest person could point their new team members to that form on how to do everything. And I've wanted to kind of upgrade them, but I've been so aware that everything's going to change.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'd started to build a team site, daydreamnomore.com, but like that news kind of came out early that everything was going to change, and I was like, well, I might as well just wait till everything changes and then kind of fill it out.
Yeah, because I thought, you can spend hours doing it and redoing all the videos, and then the look and feel of it, the navigation of the sites is going to change, and it's all going to be irrelevant. So I thought I'd just kind of hold off. And also, I don't know, there is talk about there being marketing and training tools as well, which is I'm really hopeful for, because I think they would be very valuable. Yeah.
They're definitely moving in that direction. I watch, I'll turn up to all the webinars. I actually record them for the team, but they're definitely going down like the Android app kind of route with a lot of training built in and support networks there. Yeah,
that's all you need, and that's what's expected these days. So it's that expectation of kind of having everything to hand. And personally, I think it will just make the business explode, because if you can get that kind of duplication, the easier you make it for people, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel with every single person that comes in, is how you're going to get the duplication. It's when everyone feels that they have to do their own thing, that they have to create stuff. And also you can get kind of a breakdown, I guess, in the quality of information if someone sees things a little bit different than the next person. So
Well, that's actually something I remind my team about, because sometimes it's certain words are used where they shouldn't be used, and in the long run, companies can get in trouble with that stuff.
like investment.
Yeah, because it's not. Sorry, for anyone watching, FutureNet is not an investment company. It's
right.
like a reward program. What you're doing is you're buying advertisement. You participate by doing a small task every day, and you're rewarded for that.
That's right. Yeah. Sometimes people just, it's a simple concept, and as long as you understand what it is. But yeah, people still kind of bandy around the investment, and I think it's because of the way the money comes back that they can't get that kind of format out of their heads. But I've not seen it kind of used in my team too much, so that's good. Yeah.
Would you jump in and say something if you've seen it, or?
Yeah, I think it's your responsibility really to if you don't kind of nicely and gently correct people, and they continue to use that language, which can then come back on you. I mean, it's not fair on them. You've kind of got to empower people with the right information. You don't have to stamp all over people. It doesn't have to be like someone hitting you with a big stick. It doesn't even have to be directed at that person. You can just put up a nice post just as a reminder, because I don't ever want people. I kind of say my Facebook group, it isn't my Facebook group. I created it, but it's there for the team. I want it to be their home and their space that can kind of build a team. Not everybody wants the responsibility of setting up their own Facebook group. It might be not something that they are comfortable with or prepared to do, or they might not have the time and energy to put into it, and that's why it's there, so that they can use it as a springboard, and they can leverage the information in there and the knowledge and experience of people who've been there right from day dot. So I don't want to be like the skill man that kind of bashes everybody over the head when they step out of line and do something.
Yeah.
I don't like kind of negativity, I must admit. If people can kind of get over emotional, people can listen to the wrong people, and I think sometimes there's two sides to every story sometimes. Or if the system is under maintenance, for instance, this is the old one, we all know why it's under maintenance. And I put up posts to say it is under maintenance, and the constant whining and kind of complaining about it, I don't really see the value in that as comments in a group. It's not constructive, it's not valuable, it's not a learning, nobody's learning anything from it. It just tries to increase people's anxiety when we know why it's happening and it's for the greater good. So I'll kind of control that a little bit, not massively. I'm not there to kind of censor it to death, but I'm not going to I'm an admin in the international group, and I mean, if we didn't control some of the group, the messages in there, it would be full of people just going, "Why is Future Ad Pro down? Well, I mean, read the post.
All the information's here.
I mean, if you're present enough to notice that it's not there, then go and look in the right places to find out why it might not be. Or if you see another person comment about it, think, okay, it's not just me, so this is why it's happening. So there has to be a little bit of kind of control in that respect, or else you just have reams and reams of people saying the same thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, the international group is actually a great group to be a part of. And
it is.
There's always plenty of knowledge in there.
There is, yeah. And the beauty of it is that you can ask a question 24 hours a day and you'll always answer, because there are so many people in there. from all over the world. And there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of knowledge and people who've been in there right since it started. So it's a good source of information and support. And it is run by, on a voluntary basis by big people. It was started by Mike, so he's kind of like the owner. But there's also, we have connections in there from higher up in the company as well.
Yeah.
So, that's good too. You should always bear that in mind, people who are in there, that people are watching that are in management and at, corporate level.
Yeah, well, I always think it's even if you have a complaint, there's a respectful way to put your point across, rather than just jumping in and trying to trash something.
Yeah, and I think that this is the side of things within network marketing where it kind of turns around. So whereas before I said I love the positivity and how people kind of support and everything, the flip side I find is that people can and do sometimes behave badly in network marketing in a way that you would not do in the corporate world. So there is, unfortunately, people lose that professionalism and respect that they would maybe have if they were in their job. Right? They wouldn't suddenly call out, management or, badmouth them or complain in such a vocal way. Whereas they feel that it's a bit like road rage. They just feel like they can just scream it out there and become like a petulant children. I understand people's frustrations. It's not that I don't appreciate that, but it doesn't help. And I just wish people would just kind of go, hang on a minute, even though this is my own business and I'm being entrepreneurial and I should still be respectful. I should still be professional.
Yeah.
And conduct myself in that way. Yeah. And I think sometimes people do lose it a bit. And I wish they would just kind of, not.
It comes back to that thing that like people are always watching, and like it can put you off maybe wanting to work with someone in the future.
Absolutely.
I know, like I have turned people away. I was like, listen, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to send. I know people can still find your links in other places, but if certain people have messaged me and I've said, look, I don't want to work with you. I'd rather you went and seen someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you do have to be careful. Not be careful, but you have a responsibility when you're building a team to mentor people and be there and support them, and you have to be sure that you can work with those people.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, can be a trap that you can fall into in the early days. Is that you got to take everybody?
Yeah. You don't.
I'll take everybody. I can't let one slip through my fingers. But I think really, in hindsight, people should really kind of think carefully. And it's about, people do gravitate towards people that they feel comfortable with. And that is, and they're the people that are more like yourself, and you will probably more likely feel comfortable working with. And that, I think, leads on to something Jennifer said, is that you have to be genuine when you're online. Don't be the pretender, because all you'll do is invite the wrong people for you, and it will make your life a living hell. And you don't want that. This is about making life easy.
I couldn't agree more. I wouldn't have like the biggest results, especially not in our circle, but I'm very passionate about the business, and my theory is just keep turning up. But there's no point lying, or claiming that you're doing X, Y, or Z when you can't.
No. I mean, it's exhausting trying to be something. It's hard enough trying to be yourself.
It's true.
Like tough enough, just being yourself and living and doing what life demands of you, and kind of not being this pretense of being this kind of other person. I couldn't hold it. I mean, I've a big enough problem kind of doing like, because I always feel like I have a good hair day, you know, I've got to have my makeup on. I did go through a stage where I thought, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to do videos no matter where I am, even if I'm butt ugly. I'm just going to do it, because if I don't do that, I kind of get these ideas. I can be driving along and think, oh, that'd be a really good idea to do a video on.
Yeah.
But it's not the right moment. If I don't do it just then,
It's gone.
and the moment's gone. It kind of, you don't have that same kind of recall and passion about what it was I wanted to talk about, like a day or two later.
Yeah. I've only just kind of hit that stage, maybe in the last 2 months, where I've just gone, I actually don't care what people think. This is what's working for me. And I have started just to make these little videos and put them in the groups, and obviously doing this show. And
I keep telling my girls, who are, one's coming up to 18 years old and the other one's 25. The 25 doesn't have any problem with this. She's quite an individual. But I tell my youngest one, it's incredibly liberating when you reach the stage where you really just don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. You know, when you just really don't care. And I don't mean that I'm going to go out and do awful things and I don't care what I do. It just meant that,
no,
you
but
know,
you're self-sufficient.
yeah, I don't mind if I walk down to the shop and I haven't got a face full of makeup. I don't, you know, all these silly kind of silly things that you have to be a certain way in society just to fit, because all those people don't know me. They don't matter to me. They're not in my life. I'll probably never see them again. So why does it matter?
Yeah.
I could walk down there in my pajamas, and actually in Australia they do, so it really wouldn't matter. In their PJs with no shoes on, and you can go to the supermarket. So.
I remember I spent a lot of time in Melbourne a few years back. I lived there for a year, and I'd go back tomorrow. I love Melbourne. It's my favorite city in the world.
I've not been to Melbourne.
Oh, you should go.
No, I was meant to go for my birthday last year, for my 50th, and I'd been back to the 51 now. Just had January.
Go away.
No, I
never said that.
It's the good light. You wouldn't believe what I did with the blind. I was like, shut the blind, put the liberty lighting on. But yeah, I was meant to go to Melbourne last year for my 50th, but I'd been back to UK for Christmas. We made a last minute dash for the UK for Christmas, which was lovely. I caught the worst flu. Oh my God, I was just dying. And I don't mean a bad cold, I mean proper horrible flu. I was surprised they let me through customs and on aeroplanes, really, because I was really horrible. And I literally, the turnaround from arriving back into Australia to us flying down to Melbourne was 2 days, and I just said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. So it got cancelled. Well, my daughter went, took her friends actually. So she had my weekend away. Oh, so it's on the list.
Brisbane's lovely too, though. I think we only spent a couple of weeks there.
Yeah.
I liked it, taking the water taxis and all that stuff. It was great.
Yeah. It's a beautiful city. It really is. It's a beautiful city, but I think Melbourne is a little bit more cosmopolitan. Big foodies, shopping, and the climate can be a little bit more English, but that's what they say. It's kind of so changeable. Whereas here, it's just...
The winter there would cut you in half. Like the wind
really?
cut you in half. And I live in Ireland, but it's nothing like there.
I find it really hard to imagine that anywhere else in Australia is just not like Queensland. You know, because you're in the same country, you know what I mean? So in England, you can get difference of weather, but it's not too severe change. But here, it's like Queensland is constantly summer. Even in the winter, it's like the English summer. It's, it's just warm all the time. So it's kind of subtropical.
Yeah.
But to imagine that even just down the road in Sydney, it's just a 2-hour flight.
Down the road, a 2-hour flight.
Yeah. Well, my husband is based over in Perth. It's 6 hours away.
Yeah.
6 hours. That's like it's like him working in Russia if he lived in the UK.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a long way. It can be shorter depending on the jet stream, he tells me. But yes, I haven't visited Melbourne yet, but I mean, they get snow down in New South Wales and kind of down there,
Yeah.
and I just find that odd. But it's a massive country. You just forget how huge it is. Massive.
I'd love to go back and live there, but
Yeah,
obviously I actually settled here, and I think,
I know.
you know, it's maybe in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You never know. After Brexit, everybody might be leaving.
Yeah, I can come. I'll buy a horse and I'll come race you.
You're in Ireland, though, aren't you?
Yeah,
Are you in Southern Ireland or Northern Ireland?
Southern Ireland. Yeah, I'm just outside Dublin.
You're in the nice side.
Controversial.
It's a nicer accent as well, Southern Ireland, isn't it? It's a much softer
Yeah.
accent than the kind of
There's a lot of accents in Southern Ireland.
yeah.
Some of them can get a bit thick.
Like a leprechaun, then.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of potatoes around the place, I tell you.
it's lovely. I've never been to Ireland. Isn't that awful? From the UK, and I've never been to Ireland.
Come over.
I know, I should do. It's funny, it wasn't really until I kind of moved over here that I really started to feel like I wanted to visit places in Europe. You know.
But I think everyone, like kind of English, Irish, if you go on holidays, you go to Spain or you go to Mexico or Cancun, you know, you go away from home. No one is close to home.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I don't know. Also, I miss culture and old buildings. I grew up in a little tiny North Yorkshire Moors village in a house that was in the Domesday Book. It was like built in 1664, so it's a real old farmhouse. So I really love old buildings and old architecture, and you've got heaps of that in England. Lots of history. Whereas, you know, Australia is such a new country, really. Everything, there's very few old buildings. So yeah, kind of Europe's just lovely. It's just so full of character. That's what
Germany, those kind of countries, real.
I used to live in Austria. I lived in Austria for nearly 5 years. Yeah, I was like Heidi, lived up on a mountain.
Did you have the blacks and stuff? Yeah.
I know, I did. I lived in one of those little chalets on the side of the mountain, just outside, about 20 minutes from Kitzbühel. When I was about 20, and yeah, it was beautiful. God, Austria is a stunning country, and lovely to go in the winter and the summer. Yeah, it's lovely. So that was good. Learned the language, went off.
And can you still speak it? I'm not going to ask you to speak it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's still kind of stuck up with, obviously not as good as, but I could hold a decent, simple kind of conversation, I guess. It took a while, because I think a lot of people, what happens is that if they speak English, they just speak English to you. And obviously it was a ski resort and a summer holiday resort kind of place. So everybody would speak English because we get a lot of English visitors. It wasn't until I was a ski instructor, I trained as a ski instructor, and I was kind of teaching kids. And then I was in situations where I just was forced to had to speak Austrian, you know. And the family I was staying with, they couldn't speak English and stuff like that. So yeah. When you start dreaming, I started to dream in German.
No way.
Yeah, so they say once you start to dream in German, it's kind of in your psyche kind of thing. So yeah.
The only other language I know is Irish or Gaeilge, but no one really speaks it. There's a small part of Ireland that's still
Sorry, it's my friend.
Okay.
I'm going out for a birthday tonight, so
nice.
Just a call. I'll just forgot to put it on mute. How bad of me. God.
You're your own boss. You can do what you want.
I can do what I want. It's so good. That took some getting used to. I gotta say, it felt felt like a bit of a fraud for quite a while.
Why?
Felt like, I don't know, it was just a really weird feeling. It just, I didn't, it didn't feel real almost. I mean, after that, the leaving the day, handing in my notice, and then the last day, and then handing my gear up, that was kind of very real, and it was kind of like these moments. But then when I wasn't actually working, or when it, and then so it was after the holidays, because we have like our summer holidays for the kids is over Christmas, and Francesca went back to school for her last year of school, and everything that would be kind of another marker of everything kind of falling into a normal routine, and I just didn't have this routine that I've had for kind of 32 years.
Yeah.
32 years of working a job where you only get 20 days holiday is it's a bit like, like the Shawshank Redemption when they say you become institutionalized.
Yeah. When poor Brooke leaves.
You become very used to having that routine, that structure, and I'll tell you a funny thing. I had a work mobile for my job, and my boss was a real pain in the ass, and it had this even to this day, when I hear that ringtone go off, I feel sick. But that's also, it's just, I don't know. I think I felt a little bit like I was skipping school a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it kind of felt like. And I felt so I kind of it was quite hard to find a balance of how much work I do on my online business, and how much freedom I do allow myself, and I really kind of struggled with that, and I think I still do, to be quite honest.
I definitely think you don't actually realize how inspiring you are, or how many people you have inspired by just sharing your journey. I definitely don't think you realize.
Yeah, you say I don't. I kind of go. Sometimes I don't even post on Facebook, and I feel so guilty. But then I kind of think, oh, it's like when life's just busy and you're just doing your thing, you're kind of not always on Facebook. And that's obviously where I kind of share my story and where I've kind of built my business. I have done some YouTube, and I need to kind of get back to it because I do quite enjoy doing videos. But yeah, I mean, around the time when they were doing, did the Macau event.
Yeah.
So the weeks before, like the build up to that, and then afterwards, I kind of flipped the other way, and I was doing like kind of 13, 14-hour days. I was like on the laptop all day and then into the early mornings, all night into the early mornings. And I just burnt myself out. There was no balance at all. It was ridiculous. So I do have to try and find that little bit of balance so I can enjoy my life and enjoy that kind of freedom that I've worked towards and attained, but still kind of be there for the business, support everybody, and continue to build it, because I haven't really been building. I've just been kind of support. I kind of gave myself a year off.
But how nice is that you can do that? Like you work so hard that the business can take care of itself for a year.
And it does.
Yeah.
It really does. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, if anyone really kind of thinks sensibly about what I didn't want to do when I looked for another business, and that wasn't what I wanted, was that I didn't want to just swap the business that I did for myself. I didn't want to just swap a different lot of time. I didn't want to have to go out and do home parties. I didn't want to be hassling my customers every month to hit a target to ensure that I got a bonus, or I kept my ranking. There's so many businesses out there that keep the pressure on to keep the rankings there, or your income falls.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people work bloody hard to get where they are, and it's almost like they're punished if they don't keep that pressure on. And I didn't want to do that. And what I like about FutureNet is that pressure isn't there. It's like, it's self-driven. You're rewarded from the very first person you bring into the business. And literally, if you need to take a holiday, my daughter's got septic tonsillitis and possibly glandular fever. And the doctor was saying, you've got to take time off. And she's saying, I can't take time off. I have to support myself. She lives in the city.
Right.
And I went, oh, that pressure that people have on them just to keep their heads above water is awful.
Yeah.
And I had it for such a long time.
Yeah.
All I need to do now is retire my husband, hopefully. That would be nice.
You do it. You do it easy.
I don't know if he'll ever quit though. He's a workaholic.
Yeah, well, it mightn't be good for him to quit if he's a workaholic.
That's it. He'd have to find something else to kind of.
Around the house annoying you.
Pardon?
You'd be around the house annoying you.
Oh no, I don't think that. Yeah, no, he can't sit still. But he's big into cycling and stuff. So, and he's not been able to do that because he travels such a lot. So he could possibly get back on his bike again.
Yeah. It's good to have those hobbies, especially in Australia, because you get the weather to do pretty much anything you want.
Yeah, although it does get too hot. It's like at the moment I'm kind of getting up at stupid o'clock on a morning to kind of train one horse and then ride again kind of at 5:30 in the evening when the sun's going down, so it's not so intense. Because I mean, it's 27 degrees through the night, Celsius. But the humidity here is horrendous. We're talking 80 to 90 and higher percent humidity.
Yeah.
So
I think when I was in Brisbane, I slept on the balcony of the house I was staying in.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't know how I'd survive without air conditioning.
Yeah, that's the house we stayed in didn't have aircon, so it was like it was open a window, but there's no air.
No, it would be hotter outside than it is inside. Yeah, it's not pretty. Not to put anybody off if they want to visit Australia.
No,
it's kind of like what people like and expect when they come on holiday, and that's fine because you're doing holiday kind of things. But if you are kind of working a job, I mean, there's a lot of Australians are very entrepreneurial. There's a lot of self-employed people, a lot of franchises and things like that. And the building trade is huge, and all the lads who work outside, I don't know how they do it. It just breaks them, the heat and the
I know. I'm sure it's something similar because I did some construction work when I was there. But when it got to a certain temperature, that was it. You were just sent home, and they won't think it's 33 or 34 degrees. Like it's a crazy heat.
Yeah. I mean, it's often 30, 32. Yeah. But once you get to about 34 degrees, man, it's just mental. But we've had 40 degrees here recently. It tends to be inland. I live right on the coast, so you get a really good breeze, but you don't have to go very far inland, and you're hitting 40 degrees with the humidity. So it's just horrendous heat. You just can't think in that kind of heat. Yeah.
I could lose a stone if I went there for a week. I think all this went out of me.
Yeah. I mean, that was one thing in the job I had when I quit. I'd have to sit in these new beautiful houses to sell these houses, but there's no air conditioning in them, and I would be there, and I just some days just thought I'd go crazy with the heat. And I'm dressed corporate, suited and booted. I used to go stand in the shower, stick my legs up, put my arms in the shower and hoik my skirt. Stick my legs in the shower, just anything to try and cool down. And I just swore, I said, I am not doing this another year. I am not doing this another year. And then the year after when I'd quit, I was like, I am so glad I am not in those houses, You kind of really got to grapple.
Do that again.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope, I hope not, You always have to kind of, you never know, but no, I'd never do real estate again, ever again.
I think once you get that success, I think it would be extremely hard to walk back to an ordinary job.
Yeah, I think it really would. Yeah, I think
your standards for your own life massively increase, where things aren't acceptable anymore.
It is. It's just that time, and I mean, I missed out the pressures that we had, and I'm not alone. I'm sure you feel the same way. Is that when your kids are young, the pressure and the anxiety that's put onto you, like when you're a working parent and the kids are not feeling very well, but work is pushing you to turn up, and you're having to go and drop them at grandparents, or, if you don't have grandparents, then, and it's, childcare, they won't take them when they're sick. So then you have to take time off, and then the work's giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
And the anxiety that used to build up inside me. And then just that getting ready for work, getting little toddlers and kiddies ready on a morning, and getting into your car in the snow, driving through the traffic and getting everywhere on the right time and getting to work and not clocking in late. It's the pressures that people have on them these days it's horrendous, because it's relentless.
Yeah, it's a real juggle,
It
especially.
is. Yeah. Do you find that in business that it tends to be kind of 30s and upwards that are in kind of the tradition, like the network online marketing? I do find that it's kind of a more mature audience.
Yeah.
It's almost like the young ones want to become influencers and YouTubers.
Yeah, exactly. Even my daughter is 8 and wants to be a YouTuber. She has her own channel and she does gaming and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they kind of want to kind of do that kind of thing, which I think is great if you can hit the right niche and you can get that success and all the rest of it. But I think it's there's probably fewer rather than more that have success. I think it's quite difficult. But yeah, I think it's definitely the parents and the people who have been through the ringer and who have kind of.
I always say it's kind of a shame, because when most people start looking to earn online is actually when it's the worst time possible for them to start a business, because normally, like, their back's against it. I had to wait 3 weeks before I could even think about starting. I had to save to buy my first ad pack. Sorry, say that again.
Got other responsibilities. Financially, it is, and also the time thing. I mean, had I started this in my 20s, I know it wasn't around, but I mean, think that now, those young people, if they really do just kind of focus and kind of really kind of look at it, they could have their life sorted so easily.
There'll always be something else because they're so young.
Yeah, they're just kind of a little bit flighty, I guess. And maybe you do need to kind of, maybe that's what you need. You need to, maybe it's just too easy to kind of turn up and do a job and it's all laid on for you. You go, you do it, you leave. You go, you do it, you leave. And that's kind of simple. But, put in a bit of hard work for a couple of years and they could literally have their lives sorted.
Yeah. Your daughters will follow in your footsteps?
The funny thing is that my eldest daughter was the one that introduced me to network marketing through Isogenics. Right. She was a PT instructor, and she came home from, they used to do these things called Super Saturdays, and they'd get everybody really pumped up about the business and the products. And she came home and we literally nearly had to scrape her off the ceiling. She was that excited. She couldn't still. It was slightly annoying. But she was really, she was going to retire us both and like this. And we were like, yeah. We did roll our eyes a bit. But wanted to be supportive. Husband was cycling, doing Ironmans. He was doing very sporty kind of things. I was running quite a lot. So we both said, we'll get a kit each, we'll do it, and we did. And we both had, like I said earlier, phenomenal results, really great. I mean, Chris ended up ranking number 2 in his age group in Western Australia, for cycling. His sport performance increased that good. I was running 5:15 pace for 10K. I mean, my running just went like phenomenal. So we loved it, and I did do the business. But she's since stopped. She stopped like before I did, years ago, and she's just not interested. Not interested at all.
No way.
It's really strange. Yeah. The younger one, she has a YouTube channel. It's just photography, more about her equestrian and her riding and her eventing and things like that. But and she's sponsored by some products, horse products and things. You never know, she might. kind of do something along those lines, but I don't know really.
They've a great role model. Like, because I know, like, Ashley's mom works for herself, and I'm trying to obviously build a business so that I can walk away from my day job. But Ashley already, even at age, she's like, I'm going to work for myself. I don't want,
That's good. Yeah,
I want to be somewhere.
that's it. And I think it's nice when parents kind of show that there is an alternative. My dad's always worked for himself. I think that's where I get it from, that kind of entrepreneurial streak. He's always been self-employed and worked for himself. So I've never really been afraid to kind of just give something a go. I don't have that fear of failing. And I think that's quite important in every aspect of your life. And that's something I kind of say to my daughter, don't be frightened of having a go, because even if it doesn't quite work out, you'll learn something along the line, but the younger generation are very bothered about what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
So that's where this not giving a stuff what people think really kind of comes into play. Don't care so much about what other people think. They don't have to live your life. They don't have to walk in your shoes. So what does it matter, So yeah, if you don't give things a go, just about keep going.
Yeah, I even tell that to Ashley now, because she's eight. She doesn't want she doesn't want to be like a ballerina or anything. She's quite like a tomboy. So she wanted to try out for Gaelic football and all this kind of stuff. I was like, just try you don't know if you like it until you go and do it.
Yeah.
And either you're going to meet someone that you'll be a friend, or you'll learn something that you can keep.
Yeah, absolutely.
No question, you're going to get something from it.
Yeah. I love team sports. I was really sporty at school, so I just, there wasn't anything I didn't do, I just
No way.
I loved it.
I was the fat kid who stayed at home playing games.
No, really?
Yeah.
But you are fat no more.
No, well, I don't know, a little bit.
We've just had Christmas. I've just kind of got back on my resume, like resumed, kind of eating well and things. I think that's probably why I'm a bit tired as well. Kind of.
I used to be a 44-inch waist, so like I was a barrel. I was big.
It just gets harder when you get older. That's it.
No, not that in my teenage years.
Oh, that's good Irish food.
Oh, my poor mom would take in the shopping, and I'd raid the bags before they're even put away. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking that. That's mine. And I'd be hiding it everywhere.
Oh dear. Yeah. I think I just never stopped as a kid. I was always kind of running around. Kind of lived in a little country village. Never sat still for very long, I think.
It served you well, because you don't look like you're in your 50s.
Thank you very much. I think it's probably my grandma genes. I think a lot of it comes down to genes. Just lucky. There are definitely bad days where I do definitely look in the mirror and go, oh, yeah, not looking so great today.
Everyone thinks that about themselves. Like, oh, I look terrible, and it puts a lot of people off, like making videos or posts. Like I thought that for years. I was like, no, I sound stupid. I look stupid. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You have to get to that point where you go, I sod them. I don't care.
That's it. I found when I was on kind of doing videos, I mean, I was never really nervous about doing videos, and I think that was just because through work, I had to do presentations and I had to do training and stuff in front of quite a lot of people. So it wasn't kind of an anxiety in speaking in front of people, although if you really start to think about when you do live videos and the potential of your audience, it can kind of freak you out a little bit. But I just kind of started small, and I think if anybody is nervous, that's what you have to kind of do. You just record videos that are just a video, not a live, just a video. And I watched quite a few training videos on how to do videos from bloggers and people, just kind of giving you hints and tips. And one of them was, especially if you're doing training videos of content to put on Facebook, which is what I started to do, is to batch them.
Yeah.
So you know, because I find that once I do one, you kind of get on a bit of a roll. You know, you get in the mood and you've got everything set up and you've got your good head and you've got your makeup on. So, you know, do it. And they were going to say, change your top, change your earrings, you know, and maybe quickly change your position, whatever, and kind of batch them out. So that's kind of how I first started. That was my first few videos on my YouTube channel, was just like that kind of thing with my cranky old Mac that made terrible noises. And then what I did is, when I started to go into the live videos, is that a good tip that I picked up was to create a little group. You know, you can make groups on Facebook.
Yeah.
So just pick a little, even if it's in your own team, or if you know, if you have a Facebook group, you can do it in there. But if you haven't, then just create a little group in your Facebook, and then when you go to do live, just select group and select them. So you're only speaking to, it could be 4 people.
Yeah.
You know, and it just gets you to dip your toe and get used to working the buttons and writing it and getting it, you know, going and stopping it and maybe commenting and that kind of thing. And then I think you just kind of whine it out. For a long time, I'd split my Facebook group into personal, like friends and family in one group, and work in another group. And I would only do my lives to the work contacts. Right. Yeah. But there was a time that I forgot to click it. And I went live to everybody. I went live to everybody. It was while I was at work. And somebody in the office, one of the girls I was friends with in the office, popped up on the comments, and I said, "How's it going to work, Michelle?" And I just wanted to die. And one of my neighbours or all these people I knew that didn't even know what I did.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just wanted to curl up and die. So I just made light of it and made a joke of it, and kind of said, "Look, guys, you know,
well, I did a Facebook Live when I was first talking about making this show, and like 2 of the guys I work with popped up on it. I even say it in the live. I'm like, I actually forgot, you know, so and so was friends with me on this account. But you have to forget it. Just keep going.
Yeah, and it squashes down everything so much. It just became too much of a chore, adding people into different groups. You know, it just, and then I just think once you just kind of throw it open and just do it to everybody, but you can at least kind of practice and dip your toe a few times doing it that way if you have an anxiety about it. And then just kind of go for it. I think usually once people get talking, they are not as bad as they ever envisioned that they would be, you know.
Yeah.
And
I used to die on video. I'm getting a little bit better, but like.
You're a lot better. You're kidding me. Fantastic.
Thanks. But,
you are very easy to talk to, and that's the gem, isn't it? You know, people want to talk to you.
Yeah, well, when I messaged you the other night and you were like, "Oh, I've actually just watched your video," I was like, "Why? I don't know why you'd watch it."
It's great hearing. I think it's a fantastic idea, and again, it's this hand in hand thing that people do in this industry to help one another. It's great for me to have a platform to kind of sit and talk to you, and people see me, but people see you too. Yeah. It's like everybody wins. It's great. And then if people are inspired a little bit by your stories, then that's great. I mean, you could end up, I reckon this is going to go huge. I think this really got legs, because it's such an easy, nice, relaxed thing to do.
Yeah, well, but I knew if I would never have done it if I had to sit down every week and make my own video, I'd more than likely put it off. Mm. But if I invited you, I can't let you down. I have to turn up.
Yeah, and I made the same. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I was kind of like, I know I've got to turn up for Alan because he puts this out on Monday and he might not have anybody else to put him. And I was like, hence we come back to bed for 2 hours. And
before I spoke to you, I had 0 guests ready for next week. And by the time I went to bed, I had 5 lined up.
Ah, well, that's
And I was like,
fantastic. See, they're knocking at your door now, aren't they?
it's a bit weird. I'm not used to people. Like I was surprised. Not that I was surprised you knew who I was. Obviously, we spoke a little bit on Facebook. But
Yeah.
some other guys messaged me, and I was definitely going, "You shouldn't know who I am. Like I don't understand." But I guess it
You're
is
like,
that thing again where people are watching.
yeah, and you're very genuine. So that's, that's a memorable thing in itself. I'm not surprised at all. There you see, you can same thing is that you don't realize the impact that you have on people. I think we all do this a little bit. We don't see ourselves through the eyes of other people. We kind of dumb ourselves down a little bit, and
Yeah, and maybe too much at times.
yeah. Like I say, I mean, I don't feel like being overly active on Facebook, and I've just kind of been getting on with life. But maybe that's the point, is that this is what people want to attain, I guess. It's what we all kind of strive for, and maybe me just living my life is good enough. Maybe I just maybe need to do a little bit more than just horses, because it's been very horsey. It's all about the horses. It's like having toddlers again.
But you can tell you love them.
Yeah, they are lovely, but hell, there is a lot of work. Well, not a lot of work exactly, but there's a lot of responsibility. You've got to be there every morning, you've got to be there every night. So I just got to the point where one daughter's left home and the other one has just left school and got a driving license.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, oh, free as a go, I'm free. And then I've got all these baby horses to look after. So it's kind of like getting a whole new family. So
Yeah, it's a reason to get up too and make you get up early.
Yeah. And I want to get better as a rider. It's something I've always wanted to do, right from I learned to ride when I was about 11 and never had my own horse. Always wanted one, really always wanted one, and never did.
Now you have
Then
4.
got 4 now, and tell me about it, not having any more. No more. They cost a fortune. Oh, you won't believe how much hair costs.
How much egg?
Yeah, huge. Hair and feet, hair and shoes. My God, it's a small fortune.
Thanks, future net.
It is, I tell you. Yeah, it is all FutureNet. Everything, my whole life is paid for by FutureNet. And horses ain't cheap, believe me. They eat more than we do.
Well, you don't along your way. You always meet those few people that doubt you. I'm sure they're looking now, going, "Shit, she did it."
Yeah, I know. Maybe. Nobody's kind of chirped up and went, well, but yeah, the haters either stay quiet or they shout, don't they? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I never.
I can't imagine you having too many haters.
I think it's maybe, I'm not too outspoken on Facebook. I'm not too opinionated. Sometimes I think, there are some things, and it's usually it's maybe an inappropriate joke or something like that. That I absolutely die laughing and think, oh, I'd love to repost that. I go, oh no, I might offend somebody.
Yeah,
So
I think that too. Sometimes you get a funny meme or something sent to you, and you're like, I actually can't put that on there.
yeah, I got a really funny one at Christmas. It was I don't know if you got it, the talking reindeer.
No.
It was really quite rude. It was so funny. There were certain words and I forgot. All I could remember was that I thought it was really funny. So then I played it to my family at Christmas dinner. And my husband and my father and my mother-in-law were there, and then suddenly all these cuss words are coming out. And I was thinking, and my husband kind of looked at me and I forgot that it swore quite as badly as it did. But yeah, so I'm kind of my true self, but I'm probably hold back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd be 100% the same.
Yeah, I think so. I play it safe, I guess, in some regards. But I have a few friends that I know that appreciate that kind of thing, so I just fire it off to them.
That's what PMs are for.
That's it, absolutely. Share it with your friends who've got a similar sense of humour, I guess. Yeah. That's all good.
But
Gosh, I've been chatting for a while.
yeah, well, we'll wrap
An
it,
hour and
we'll
a
wrap it up. That's I just seen the time there. I didn't want to keep you more than an hour.
could be really boring some people.
Well, that, even,
I talk a lot.
even from the time I made the first one, I said I don't care if anyone watches them. I'm just going to keep making them. But, I guess. Well, you watched. I guess other people are watching.
Yeah, I mean it's the kind of thing you can put it on and because it's like almost like a radio station, you know.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy if people don't look at me, but you know, you can have it playing and you can be listening while you're doing the washing the pots or
In, in,
tidying.
in the next few weeks, it'll be an actual podcast that you can just download and listen to.
Oh, cool! Very good. I'll be watching.
I'm always learning something.
Sorry.
I'm always learning something.
Oh God, yeah, technical. I've never used Google Hangouts before. So is it easy to use? Is it? Should look
Yeah.
into it. I've had some tremendous fails on Zoom. Just,
Do you know?
I
Do you know why I like it? You know, on Zoom, obviously, you'd end up having the two videos side by side, and it doesn't really look natural. But Google will, the camera will change back and forth as you speak. The camera will turn to you, and the same for me, and it just makes it a little bit easier.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I did a great interview with Steve, and we had a really, really great interview, and the recording failed.
Oh no!
Yeah, it didn't render or something. I was so annoyed,
Yeah.
and I
I'm
told
hoping
Steve,
to get Steve on in a couple of weeks when he's free.
yeah, Steve's always a good interview. Yeah,
Yeah.
give you good value, and he's got a great story as well. You know,
Yeah.
his personal story is great, and one I'm sure will resonate with a lot of people. So yeah, he's a good guy and a really lovely guy. I met Steve in Macau, and and you never know. I mean, he's my sponsor, and you know, sponsors and it's always nice to your business builders and all the rest of it. So you never know.
Just genuine.
Yeah, and he's super nice. I mean, Steve's actually quite very outspoken online. You know, he's very, you know, he has his opinion and he will kind of put it out there. He really gets debate going and things like that, which is really interesting. You know, you kind of see people bantering backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
But he's super nice person. Yeah, he really is. He's very genuine. And like he says, he's quite shy. He's kind of quieter. But we had a really good party at the end of it, and we all had a good drink.
I remember seeing some pictures.
Lost my phone that night. Had a few hills, got to dance like a maniac. So it was a long, long night. I don't think I got until about 4 or 5 in the morning.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
It was a really great night. And the CEO, Stefan and Roman and everybody, they liked party too. And what do you call it? Hugh Paul, he likes a good party. But they're really nice people. They'd come over and sit with us in the bar and
I met Hugh Paul in Dublin last year.
Yeah, he was exhausted, that poor guy. At one point, I kind of gave him one of the isogenic E shots to give him some. It's like an energy boost thing. He was about to go on stage and he said, we've been up all night practicing and I'm dying on my feet. So I kind of said, take this. It'll just give you a bit of a pep before you go on. But yeah, that was good. And if you can ever get to one of those events, it's just great. I'm really sorry I didn't kind of go this year. I'll never not miss.
I'm going to try and go this year. That's myself and the kind of biggest guy on my team. I've offered to take them, so hopefully dates and stuff.
That'd be great. I wish they had them in Europe, only because I want to go to Europe. You know, when they used to have them in Poland, I'd really love it if they. But I think the demographic of the company now and just the size of stage and everything that they need just means that they need somewhere like Macau. It just caters for everybody. Yeah.
Hopefully I'll meet you at the next event.
Fantastic. Definitely. That would be so good. It'd be good if the Dubai thing comes up. I'm not sure whether it is or not.
Yeah. Well, I heard it was Dubai, so
yeah.
Just waiting for dates so we can start booking flights.
going to be in March. I think it probably will push out, but you never know. But we shall see. Would be a good place.
Well, Michelle,
Right.
thanks so much for coming on.
Very welcome.
Like, I was super excited that you even said yes.
Hey. I don't know why, but that's very nice of you to say so.
No,
I talked a lot, so there you go. I hope I haven't kind of.
it's good. It's good content.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay.
Guys, if you've watched all the way to now, thanks so much for tuning in. Michelle's YouTube channel will be underneath this one, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. But leave some comments and let us know what you thought, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just drop me a message and we'll try and work it out. Michelle, if you want to nominate someone, you're more than welcome to. If there's someone even a little bit maybe quiet or shy, we can just pull a little conversation out of them.
I do have a person in mind, but I will have to speak to them first.
There's no rush.
Yeah, there is a lady that I would like to nominate, but she's a little bit shy, so we will see whether, yeah. But she has been a significant member of my team, and it would be good if she did, but we'll have to see. Well, I'll let you know.
I promise I'll mind her.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
All right then. Thanks a lot, Alan.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.